Well, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my good friend, the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Hastings, for the time, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
In 2006, Mr. Speaker, as part of the Homeland Security Appropriations Act of 2007, Congress gave the Department of Homeland Security the authority to promulgate risk-based security performance standards for chemical facilities that use or store chemicals. And I'm glad that Mr. Lundgren of California is here because he was intimately involved with the legislation that ultimately became law. The DHS subsequently issued the Chemical Facility Anti-Terrorism Standards, CFATS, requiring chemical facilities to report the types and amounts of chemicals housed on sites. The legislative authority for CFATS was scheduled to sunset this year in October. The underlying bill, the Chemical Facility Anti-Terrorism Act of 2009, makes permanent the authority of the Secretary of Homeland Security to regulate security at chemical plants. I believe it's important to address the sunsetting of the existing CFATS program at the Department of Homeland Security. However, I have concerns that this bill fails to enhance our security and could, at a time we're facing 10% unemployment, perhaps even higher unemployment in the future, that it could endanger economic recovery. Of particular concern is the IST, the Inherently Safer Technologies, provisions included in this legislation. IST allows the federal government to mandate use of certain chemicals and technologies regardless of the efficiency and effectiveness of the IST. And this is all the more worrisome when a witness from the Department of Homeland Security testified that the department employs no specialists with IST expertise and there is no future funding planned. Now, I first learned how IST may hurt job creation, in fact, may increase unemployment from a small business in my district, Allied Universal Corporation, that operates a chemical manufacturing facility. I'd like to ask unanimous consent to insert the letter from Mr. Robert Namath, the chairman of the board of Allied Universal Corporation.
Without objection, so ordered.
I was informed that the IST is an attempt by the federal government to impose a one-size-fits-all approach to a complicated and disparate sector of our economy. It will cost Allied alone, this corporation, that employs people in my community, hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting fees and staff time alone. It is not a good use of resources. It has no tangible benefit as manufacturing struggles to survive in this economy. Furthermore, the underlying bill reduces existing protection on information regarding chemical facilities and reduces the penalties for the disclosure of security information. These regulations that we're talking about today were thoughtfully included following the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. The primary responsibility, Mr. Speaker, of our government is to protect the citizenry. By making chemical facilities less secure, we endanger security of our neighborhoods, of our communities. By easing penalties for unlawfully disclosing sensitive information, we increase our vulnerability. And to make matters worse, the majority includes these provisions in a bill that is supposed to help prevent attacks. As I said before, I'm glad Mr. Lundgren is here. He can explain the process by which the current regulations came into being, the amount of discussion, negotiation, and consensus that led to those regulations coming into effect, and really how unfortunate now this attempt at imposition of further or different regulations is.